This show is proudly sponsored by TraderCobb.com, the leaders in checklist-based trading strategy. Yes, that's exactly how it sounds. I'll teach you a literal checklist so you can tick off items and be decisive very quickly. Get across to TraderCobb.com where there's a bunch of free content there for you to have a look at. And of course, if you're interested in having me come to your city, click and register for the live events coming up and filling fast. Have a great day. Visit TraderCobb.com now.
The Trader Cobb Crypto Show, talking business in blockchain.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Trader Cobb Crypto Show. I've got a guest who's here with us out of Saigon. Really looking forward to this conversation, talking to somebody who's been in the space for a very long time and from pedigree in the financial services space. We're going to get right down to the nitty gritty today. I've got Mario Gomez Lozada, the best name in the world. He's the co-founder, president, and CTO of Liquid Exchange, which used to be Coin. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very much for having me.
No, I'm looking forward to this, mate. Listen, first things first, let's cut straight down into what got you into this space. Now, I know that back in the day, you were an engineer, and yep, I'm reading notes here. You are an engineer at Merrill Lynch. You've had a fairly illustrious career from what I can see and very, very well traveled. What took you out of that and brought you into where you are now? And when did that happen?
So I was, as you said, I was with Merrill Lynch for about 13 years, fixed income, currencies, and commodities business. I started as an engineer, but eventually became the CTO of the business.
Okay.
And then I moved to Credit Suisse in Tokyo as well, as the CTO of the fixed income business. Basically doing the same thing I was doing at Merrill Lynch. At some point in time, I really wanted to do something new. I didn't know what it was, but I wanted to leave the old finance world and find something new. A friend of mine, an acquaintance of mine, told me about Bitcoin back in 2014, 13, something like that. And I started looking into it. And as I found out more about it, I realized that was the future of finance. Wow. And many things. And that got me really excited. And that's how I made the switch from Credit Suisse, Merrill Lynch at that time, finance, big banks, to studying liquid.com.
So, I mean, that's a pretty big lunge. I mean, let's be honest. And look, for a start, congratulations for having done that. Most of my family are in investment banking, and they've got more money than they need, but they love it. They stay with it, or they're hooked. I'm not quite sure if they love it, they're addicted. I don't know what the draw is, but to each their own. You got out of that. I mean, you're running a business that's very large and a big division within a big business. I mean, you left behind some serious money to move into this space. Were you always looking at coming in and building businesses here? Because back in 13, 14, yeah, sure, you might have had the vision of what it might become, but there really wasn't a great deal of writing on the wall that it was going to turn into what it has done, right? I mean, that's a ballsy move.
That's right. I mean, I was doing the same thing for a long time, actually, fixed income business. And you're right. I mean, the money's good. I was in Tokyo. I was driving an Aston Martin, I remember, living large. But, I projected myself to the future, like 10, 20 years into the future. Would I be happy with the life? If I continue that life, would I feel satisfied? And the answer was no. So I really wanted to do something different, right? I wanted to build something. I wanted to leave my mark in the world, and that's what kind of made me jump. And I would say it wasn't easy at all. Probably, I tell people those are the darkest, the first 2014, 2015, and even 16 were probably the darkest years of my life. Because, no salary, no money, using up all your savings. But eventually we emerged, and here we are.
So what was it? I mean, what was it? What point at which did you go, okay, I've invested. I'm assuming you made some purchases yourself in Bitcoin. Is that correct?
Yes, I did at that time. Yes.
Okay, so you've made investments into the space, and you a couple of years by the sound of it, 15, 16, obviously you were spending your money. You were, were you looking for inspiration? I mean, why did you not do anything? Were you just burnt out and you felt like you needed a break? I mean, what was the delay in those 2 years or 1.5 or whatever it ended up being? What was the delay in you doing something else? Was it because you just didn't know what you wanted at that stage?
No, those 2 years I was building the company. The company launched in 2014, by the way.
Right.
So
Got
the
you.
reason why,
Okay.
yeah, it was an exciting time. The reason why I say it's darkest is because it's quite difficult to get through. Right, the first 2 years of a very small company, it was basically myself and a couple of guys in Saigon. Right,
Wow.
2, 3 guys, 4 guys out of my kitchen, literally. Kitchen, right?
Right. That's a beautiful, beautiful thing. From there's a very famous song here in Australia called "From Little Things, Big Things Grow," and that is what happened with you. So a couple of years. Okay, it makes sense to me now. I'm sorry I misinterpreted the couple of years. Yes, couple of hard years, working hard, investing your money, investing your time, putting your blood and soul into a startup in something that is very emerging. I mean, you had the foresight to do that. And, a lot of people want to be an entrepreneur until it comes to being one. And then they run away with their tail between their legs after the first 18 months because it's just all too hard. So well done for that. I'm also very stoked for you in the sense that you're working for more than just putting money in the bank. I think that's a really, really good outlook to have on life. I'd love to sit down and have a coffee and rack your brain for a little while one of these days, but let's carry on. So, okay, you've been going along, you've got the exchange up and running. Was it 2016 that the business really started to take some forward steps?
That's right. 2016, we raised capital from investors. Eventually, I believe it was $20 million, $18 million at that point in time from some Japanese investors. Our volumes in terms of transactions, USD volume went up quite a bit. It was still early time. It's still early now, I would say, in this industry. But that's when things started to pick up. Yeah.
Okay. Now you're currently ranked, just so everybody understands, like how I won't say rags to riches, but I'll say from humble beginnings, shall we say. You're about number 45 or around that area on Coin Market Cap now. I mean, that's an astronomical rise. Of course, we did see the astronomical rise of interest in 2016, 2017. Things just went to a whole nother level. How was last year for your exchange? Did you see volumes diminish absolutely significantly, or did people keep going through?
Look, we saw some reduction because of the bear market. When it comes to coin market cap, however, you need to look at the overall volumes, right?
Yeah.
I think we're there with an asterisk because in Japan we don't charge any fees, trading fees.
Yeah. Okay.
But if you include the trading fees volume, the zero trading fees volume, then we go up to like top 10.
Wow.
Right? Something like that. At some point in time, 2 years ago, we're like top 3, top 5 constantly, globally. But then last year, as you said, because of the bear market, we had a big of a downturn in terms of volume. But this year, volumes came back up again. We are our best. I think our best day was close to $1 billion a day. Wow. It was not bad.
Wow, that's fantastic. And yeah, look, it's certainly a good time to be alive and in this space, that's for sure, especially from someone like my position. I'm the trader, you're the beneficiary of my activity. So we're two peas in a pod right here. One of the things that I notice on a lot of platforms, and it's a constant source of frustration for me, I've got a big community. I got a lot of traders, got a lot of people that want to have access to trading vehicles and instruments that just are not accessible at the moment in this market. Something as simple as what it may seem simple. I've been trading for 13 years. If I'm trading foreign exchange, bonds, commodities, whatever it is, I can have an entry, stop, and target and multiple targets, and I can scale out of a trade without having to do anything. So I can raise an order, one click, everything's done, and then I can go to bed. Now that means that I've got no risk on, apart from the risk that I've managed in my deal ticket. Do you guys have something like that where I can have an entry and stop at the same time, or is it still the entry and then once you're in, you raise? So yeah, you bring your stop in as well.
So we're within within 2 weeks, within a month, I will say, we're introducing an entry and a stop at the same time. You will be able to do it from the order entry screen. It's a request that we've had from many traders in the platform, and it's coming very soon.
Wow, that is cause for celebration. I'll give you that much. Now, the other thing I've got to ask you is margin trading. Are you involved in the margin trading side of things? Have we got leverage there, and what sort of leverage have we got?
We do have leverage. There's a product that we launched back in February, I think. It's called Liquid Infinity, which gives you 100x leverage. Right?
On what products?
On JPY, Bitcoin JPY, and Bitcoin US dollar. And we are, we're going to be adding more products. We're going to be adding Ethereum, ETH, XRP probably, and a few other products to this, to the leverage trading facility that we have.
So you're going to have leverage trading up to 100 times leverage on Bitcoin dollar, Bitcoin yen, as well as Ethereum dollar, Ethereum yen, and you just keep adding to that over time, I would suspect.
Yes, we have it already, as I mentioned, on US dollar, JPY, Bitcoin. We're adding other products in the future. We're improving the product. I think within maybe a month or within 2 months, we're going to be converting it to more like a swap product. Right now, we charge financing fees. Yeah, cool. So if you have a large position, you can be paying a lot of money. Yeah. We want to make it better for the traders. So depending on your side, depending on the market conditions, you may be getting paid, or you may be paying the other side. So it's going to be far more attractive than what we have right now.
Well, that makes sense. I mean, if you make an attractive product, then they'll come. And one of the frustrations, I got a lot of my buddies in London that are traders. We've been trading together before I came back here to Sydney, where I am now. They know the volatility's there. They know it's a fantastic market, and some of them will invest. They'll buy some crypto, they'll buy some Bitcoin, all those sort of things. But when it comes to trading, they're just like, look, it's too difficult. Now, they're admittedly very lazy people. They've got money. They're not really, they're happy to sort of sit in their bond trading desk and just tick, click. I find that remarkably boring. So I've moved into something more exciting. But it's the order system that's holding a lot of the money that is wanting to come into this space, or not so wanting, but willing. With those order systems, as long as there's the good liquidity with it, I mean, that's what I think is going to really help this space to grow. Is that sort of why you're going into down that path? Sorry.
That's right. I mean, we already have good liquidity in JPY and US dollar, which is the reason why those two products are there right now for leverage, right? We have really deep, great liquidity there, very small spreads. We have liquidity in XRP and ETH. It's not as much, but we're building it up right now before we launch, margin.
Yeah, okay. So what's the overall plan? I mean, obviously the exchange is growing. The blockchain, cryptocurrency, crypto asset, call it what you will, it's growing. The price of Bitcoin is also at the moment growing.
Oh, yeah.
What's your plan? Like, I mean, when will you have sat down with yourself, Mario, and gone, we did it? What is that outcome point? What is that finishing touch that you want to see? What does that look like to you?
So the plan right now, at least, from a product perspective, for the second half of the year, we're working on futures and options trading. So with our spot market, with our margin markets, if we add futures and options, that's going to give us a full range of products for traders, which I think is going to be very attractive. So hopefully by Q1 of next year, we'll have futures and options on the platform.
Wow. Yeah. That's going to bring in a lot. I mean, if you, one of the things I look at is the CME futures contracts there that they've got for Bitcoin. And we've seen the volumes there really go through the roof, which I think is a really positive sign, because what we need to see there is good derivatives. Well, not just at CME, wherever they have them, but the CME is the forefront right now, but good liquidity, good derivative product, because that does, without those, the gateway is still shut for institutional money to come in. And it's a given that right now, even those markets are quite small, but they can start to work their way into this market, because a market is volatile as Bitcoin, for example, and without a derivative product, there's no way they're going to touch it. So we are seeing that progression come in. which is really, really very, very solid for the space. Are you looking more for the retail, or are you happy to work across all
We're
boundaries?
looking at both, actually, retail and institutional flow. For corporates, for institutional, we're working on a lot of new enhancements for latency. Maybe a fixed protocol. We don't have a fixed protocol, a fixed API right now. We will be adding that in the future for corporates. For retail, we're working a lot on our user interfaces to make them snappy and nice and fast. And
And do you have? Sorry, I interrupted you. I apologize. I thought you stopped. You go carry on.
No, I just said there's a lot more work to do this year.
There's a lot of work to do, isn't there? I mean, let's be honest. There's a lot of building going on right now all around the world, and the bear market was actually good because we were able to focus on what we said we'd do. So, right. As far as the retail side goes, I mean, the institutional side business is done in a different way, obviously, as we're aware of. The retail side, it's what you can offer to them. All right. So far we've warranted that you're going to have good order systems, so entry and stop, which is a big deal. I think there'll be many more that will do that, which is a really good progression for the space. The other thing is the educational side of things. Now, we do see a lot of platforms out there that their education is lacking, to be very polite.
That's right.
It's really, really horrible. And, it's from somebody in my position, I trade through literal checklists. Like, I check things off. You've got to be disciplined. You can't have any desire or thoughts or love or, anything towards any particular project. You have to just focus and be the best you can be in that moment. Those checklists help with that. Have you guys got anything along those lines? Somebody that's providing you with education, somebody that can teach people to come in? Because if you can give someone, say, $400 worth of value to open up an account and they learn how to trade and they're active and they're empowered, you're going to get more traders.
That's a very good point, and that's something that we're working to improve. We realize that we're not where we need to be in terms of offering educational material and guidance to new traders. So it's something that we're really looking into right now to improve. The other thing is, number two is onboarding process. We are, regulated in Japan. We have a license.
I was going to touch on that. Yeah.
Yeah. So we do KYC checks. So we have technology now that allows us to do that very fast. So you come in, there's a sort of like an AI system on the back that will look at your selfie, will look at you live.
Yep.
With your ID, and it will immediately match your ID photo with your face and everything. It will prove you right away.
So it's sort of manual, slow,
yes,
wait
exactly.
4 days. You can handle the volume of your accounts too, right?
It checks your liveness. It makes you have to move your head. It looks at the ID and it approves your name and everything. It gets your name from your ID immediately, right? It extracts it. You don't have to type it or anything, and it will approve you right away. So that's a very big pain point that we had in terms of KYC, because people struggle with that a lot, right? Even myself, right? But we're making it a lot easier for users traders to come on board.
Well, that's fantastic, because if you recall back in 2017, a lot of the accounts were saying, we don't want any more, stop. And when they shut down people opening up accounts, you could sell certain accounts for $10,000 US. I don't know if they sold or not, but that was the hysteria of back in that period of time. So that's a really good step in the right direction. And but just I don't want to gloss over the point that you're the first in the world to have a Japanese financial services license. I mean, that is a really big deal. It's something that is extraordinarily important. I think someone like me, who's been trading for a number of years and more so in the traditional markets than I have been in crypto for the last couple of years, that's a big deal. It must have taken quite a long time to get that, right? To be the first.
It took us years. Yeah, it is a huge deal. From a trader's perspective, as you know, if you're a big trader, you want to trade on a place that you trust, right? And from my experience in my previous job, the Japanese FSA is one of the strictest in the world.
I thought it might be, yeah.
So having a license, in Japan is a pretty huge deal, right? In terms of, as a user that the exchange that you're using is following policies and regulations and procedures and everything that they can do to give the users assurance that they are legitimate and that,
Well,
It's
you're
about
speaking my language, mate. So far, you've ticked all the boxes. You've got regulation. Your stops are coming in. You've got futures coming. You've got options coming. You've got margin trading. You don't have the education. I don't need the education. It's the people that you are speaking to that need that. We can help you with that. We'll have a conversation after we've had this
yeah.
interview. But look, honestly, I mean, those are look. You're the first person that I've asked these questions to, and you have given the answer that I have wanted for every single one. I interview a lot of exchanges, I'm sure you can imagine, and I use a lot of them. But you're the first to have really ticked all of those boxes. So, Mario, before I end this with you, I want to ask two more questions. One, is there anything else that you feel that we need to cover that you've got coming up or that people should be aware of? Obviously, I'm going to ask you where they can find out more information, but is there any other news that you would like to share or anything that we didn't go over?
I think that covers everything. I mean, I've talked about the product, the futures and options coming up, margin improvements to the existing product that we have. The platform is great; it's stable. We have a 99.9% uptime, right? And it's quite difficult because with cryptocurrencies, as you know, it's like 24/7. It's not like Forex or Forex is 5 days a week.
Unrelenting.
And stocks is like like a few hours a day. So with crypto, you have to be up all the time, right? So it's
It's a double-edged sword. It's a beautiful one, but she can cut you deep if you let her. There is no doubt about that. So last question, Mario, where do the viewers and listeners find out more about this exchange?
You can go to liquid.com, and it's a pretty easy name, easy to remember, and you'll find out everything you need there. You can sign up. There's a sign-up link in there. There's a lot of information on the products on that page as well. So liquid.com is a place to go.
Mario, it's been an absolute pleasure speaking with you, ladies and gentlemen. Mario Gomez Lozada, co-founder and president, as well as a CTO at Liquid Exchange, the exchange with margin options. We've got literal options, futures coming, good security, and the world's first Japanese financial services license. It's been an absolute pleasure talking to you. I'll speak to you down the track. Ladies and gentlemen, have a good day. Bye for now.
Thank you very much.
This show is proudly sponsored by TraderCobb.com, the leaders in checklist-based trading strategy. Yes, that's exactly how it sounds. I'll teach you a literal checklist so you can tick off items and be decisive very quickly. Get across to TraderCobb.com, where there's a bunch of free content there for you to have a look at. And of course, if you're interested in having me come to your city, click and register for the live events coming up and filling fast. Have a great day. Visit TraderCobb.com now.